You know that feeling, right? That feeling of being completely, utterly stuck. You're putting in the work, you're doing all the right things, but your progress is just flatlined. It's got to be one of the most frustrating feelings in the world. But what if I told you that feeling is actually a sign that you're on exactly the right track?
I mean, you've been there, haven't you? Maybe you're learning a new language, hitting the gym, trying to level up in your career, and then bam, everything just grinds to a halt. All that progress you were so excited about just seems to evaporate. You've hit a wall, and it feels like you're going absolutely nowhere. And here's the wild part. There is this massive gap between how a plateau feels and what's actually happening under the hood. On the surface, it feels like total stagnation, failure even. But in reality, it's a period of intense, deep learning. Your brain, and as we're about to see, even an AI's brain, is busy building the fundamental circuits it needs for its next big breakthrough.
To really get our heads around this, we're going to look somewhere you probably wouldn't expect: artificial intelligence. Yeah, it turns out this very human experience of getting stuck is a fundamental part of how the most advanced AIs on the planet actually learn.
This all comes from a super interesting paper from Google DeepMind that came out in 2024. They were studying how large language models learn new facts, but they weren't just looking at the final grade, you know? They were watching the whole messy process, and they found something pretty incredible. What they discovered was that an AI's learning curve isn't some smooth, steady line going up. Nope. Instead, it hits these very distinct plateaus where its performance just stalls out, sometimes for a really long time, even though the AI is still training, still chugging through data. Sound familiar?
So that's the million-dollar question, right? What is actually going on inside the AI's neural network during that plateau? Is it just wasted time? Is something broken? Not even close. Let's dig into what the researchers actually saw happening.
They saw this clear three-act play unfold. First, there's a quick initial understanding phase. This is where the model learns the basics, the general vibe of the data. Then comes the plateau, where from the outside it looks like nothing is happening. But then, all of a sudden, you get this massive leap in performance as specific, precise knowledge just emerges.
And this quote is the money shot right here. The paper says the plateau is when the AI is busy forming attention-based circuits. Just think of it like a construction phase. The AI is laying down the internal wiring, the neural pathways it needs to connect ideas and pull up information accurately. It's not learning new stuff during this time. It's building the machinery to handle all that stuff.
So let's be super clear. The plateau isn't a period of no progress. It's the period where the most important foundational work is being done. You can't put up a skyscraper without a solid foundation, and an AI can't get to deep understanding without building those internal circuits first. Okay, and this is where it gets really, really cool. Because this whole process we're seeing in AI, it's not some weird machine quirk. It's an incredible mirror for how we as humans master new skills.
In the world of human performance, this thing has a name, of course: the plateau effect. It's a well-known phenomenon where you just hit a wall and see no improvement, even though you're still putting in the effort.
And this isn't a new idea at all. In fact, way back in the 1960s, a couple of psychologists, Paul Fitts and Michael Posner, developed a classic model for how we learn skills, and they broke it down into 3 stages. And just look at this. The parallel is stunning. The AI's initial understanding is a perfect match for our cognitive stage, where we're just thinking through the task. The AI's knowledge emergence is our autonomous stage. That's when the skill becomes automatic, like second nature. And smack dab in the middle, the AI's performance plateau is our associative stage. It's the practice phase, where we're making connections, building that foundation. The plateau isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature of learning itself.
Okay, so if getting stuck is this natural, productive, essential part of learning for both super advanced AI and for us, then why does it feel so awful? Why does it send us into a total spiral of doubt and frustration?
This quote right here just gets to the absolute heart of it. For so many of us, especially if we're high achievers, our performance isn't just something we do, it's who we are. Making progress becomes proof that we're worthy.
So when that progress stalls, it doesn't just feel like a bump in the road. It feels like a fundamental threat to our identity. The little voice in our heads starts saying, if I'm not improving, I'm failing. And if I'm failing, I'm worthless.
And living under that kind of constant pressure to perform, well, it takes a heavy toll. It leads to burnout, feeling emotionally numb, and that constant nagging fear of being exposed as a fraud, what we all know as imposter syndrome. The very system that drove our success suddenly becomes a prison. But it is so important to understand this. These feelings are not character flaws. They are old survival strategies. That perfectionism, that constant need to check your own work, those were probably adaptations that helped you succeed or feel safe at some point in your life. But now, they're the very things holding you back, turning a natural plateau into a full-blown personal crisis.
So how do we break through? How do we get unstuck? Well, the answer, beautifully, is pretty much the same for both minds and machines. And it's not about trying harder, it's about thinking differently. Get this. For an AI, the solution is to change the data curriculum it's learning from. For us, the solution is to change the internal mindset we're operating from. In both cases, the key isn't more brute force. It's a strategic shift.
The DeepMind team actually found they could shorten the AI's plateau by using what they called data schedulers. So, for instance, they'd warm up the AI on a smaller, more focused set of data first. This helped the AI build its foundational circuits way more efficiently before it had to tackle the giant, messy dataset. They just changed the lesson plan.
And for us, the equivalent is changing our internal lesson plan. We have to consciously separate our identity from our output. It's about realizing our self-worth is inherent. It's not something we have to earn every single day through performance. That shift alone reframes the plateau from being a threat to being what it really is, just a necessary part of the process.
So at the end of the day, the big takeaway is this. You have to reframe what a plateau really is. It is not a wall stopping your progress. It's a workshop. It's the quiet, often invisible space where the real, deep foundational work of true mastery is actually taking place.
So, I'll just leave you with this question. The next time you feel stuck, frustrated, like you're going nowhere, just ask yourself this. What if this isn't failure? What if this is exactly how you build the circuits for your next big breakthrough?